That's a man cooking me some steaks. Look, and I can pinch your head. Squish. Squish. So 3 years ago, I was prototyping a podcast idea with a friend of mine, and we were interviewing women, and I think ultimately we did 3 or 4 interviews. There's one particular interview we did where we visited a friend of ours at her shop on her one day that she went into the shop, because she had staff working for her and she had a kid. And she took like an hour or so to be interviewed by us. It was fun, it was great conversation, and about 45 minutes into the interview, I looked down at my recording equipment and I noticed that it's no longer recording. And I'm freaking out, and I'm like, what is happening? I was recording on a Zoom thing, which is like this handheld thing, and it takes these little SD cards, and apparently I didn't clear the SD card before the interview, and so it filled up and stopped recording. And I went back to find out what the last thing was that we had talked about that was recorded, and we only had about 15 or 20 minutes of the interview, and I ended up wasting everybody's time. So I was mortified. I was mortified that I had made such a rookie mistake. Of course you check the batteries. Of course you check the SD card. These are all these basic things that you just know how to do. And I was mortified that I missed capturing about 30 minutes worth of really great content, and I was mortified that I wasted so much time for myself and for everybody else that was involved. It just was, I felt awful. I was embarrassed. It just was mortifying. Can I say mortifying again? So anyway, here I am. Not shy with the camera. Mm-hmm. Woo! I think the thing that frustrated me.
Alexa, stop.
I think the thing that frustrated me the most was that, you know, I'm in my 40s and I've been good at things for a while. You know, I have older kids, I've been parenting for a while, I've been writing for a while, I've been in my job for a while. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm really good at doing, and here I was trying something new. I'd never done a podcast before, and I was mad that I didn't just instantly know how to do it. I didn't like the learning curve. It was uncomfortable. And
Alexa, set timer 4 minutes.
Which is ridiculous, of course, in retrospect, but I just wanted to be as good at that as I felt like I was at everything else. But the whole point of me trying a podcast was that I wanted to try something new. I got over it.
I just broke a glass on your porch because I couldn't manage drinking a cocktail and petting your dog at the same time, apparently. And as I blame it on the plastic stuff. Anyway, so as I was...
The curvature of the arm.
The curvature of the plastic stuff that was
It is quite
curvy. Yeah, so that's why I put it on that thing over there that's straighter. So, Jen,
Yeah.
what were we talking about?
Fraudy feelings. Your failure.
So yeah, have you ever been sitting at your desk? So I'm a software engineer, and a new one. Like a year and a half ago, I graduated from a boot camp, but I've been working in tech for like 15 years. But anyway, so I said, hey, Brian, when he said, how was your week? I said, have you ever been sitting at your desk and you're struggling with whatever? For me, it was code. For everybody else, it's whatever they do. And you're having a breakdown. It's like, I didn't know how to solve this one thing, or probably many things, but like this code algorithm. And I knew other people were depending on me because we were doing a hack week, and so they were waiting for my code to check in so they could do their code, blah, blah, blah. So it was like a domino thing. And I was stressed, and so I had this whole stressful anxiety moment that I brought on by myself, and I was like, oh my God, I can't finish this. I don't know how to solve it. I don't want to ask for help because everybody else is stressed out doing their thing, and like I don't want to break their concentration. And yet I have to get this done. I don't know how to do it. I probably don't know how to code. I'm probably going to lose my job and my life is going to fall apart and this is horrible. And I'm sitting here and my hands are kind of shaking. And I know that no one anywhere, we work in an open office space, no one around me has any idea I'm in this anxiety bubble. Like I'm freaking the fuck out. And I don't even want to get up and go to the bathroom because I'm like, oh my God, like maybe they'll know I don't know what I'm doing and then I'm going to the bathroom because I don't know what to, like it's totally
We know you snuck into the carnival and now you have to leave.
So I'm sitting here having this, like, it was bizarre, like this absolute panic attack, and I haven't had this happen for a while. And then my boss, who's an awesome mentor, also came over. He's like, how's it going? And I'm like, well, I'm struggling with this thing. Here's the code. He's like, oh, you're practically there. All you have to do is blah, blah, blah. Aww.
Sneezing.
There he's puking his thing out.
Puking and sneezing. It's a
And
dog.
he's like, oh, you're... He's having his own anxiety moment.
This is why you shouldn't eat trash, Sid.
He's okay now. Anyway, so he came over and I'm like, here's the thing that I'm working on. He's like, oh yeah, you're really close. Just do boop, boop, boop. And then boom, everything worked. And I'm just sitting there to myself, like keeping this in, trying not to let him know that I was having this like insane anxiety panic attack. And everything was solved. And it was really not a big deal. And I used to have this a lot in my previous career, and this is the first time I've had it as a coder. And I was like, and I said to him, and I asked him, I'm like, you like sit there and you're like totally freaking the fuck out and blah, blah, blah. Not that I'm having that, but just wondering.
Hypothetically
And
speaking.
he's like, oh yeah, all the time.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, somebody asked me to ask you. So. Anyway, so that happened, and I'm imagining like that happens to a lot of people. So you're not alone.
So I had a minor panic attack a few minutes ago that I wanted to share with you because I'm nothing if not completely transparent and ridiculous. So I have a freelance job this week, doing some writing for a client, and I got the creative brief and the expectations of what they're looking for, and I had this mild panic attack because I didn't necessarily understand or have clarity around what they wanted from me. Like I know what the deliverables are, but I wasn't super clear on some of the details involved in it. So I'm freaking out. And I instantly go through this spiral of, oh my gosh, I can't do this. What am I doing? I'm totally doing in the wrong field. I should never have thought I could be a writer. I should never have thought I could work with clients. I should never have thought I could possibly do this. I need to call them immediately and tell them I'm not available for this job or any other jobs in the future because I'm clearly not equipped to handle this project. And it was a short spiral to the land of crazy. And then I started remembering the conversation that Brian and I were having with Amánda on our back patio about imposter syndrome and fraudy feelings, and remembering that a lot of times it just takes a few questions. Like it's not a big deal to have a few questions. And if I'm working for a team or a client who thinks that asking questions is dumb, then it's not the right client or the right team. And so I took a deep breath So I took a deep breath and just shot a quick email to the person, to my contact, and just said, hey, I have a few clarifying questions before I get started, and do you have time to jump on a call? And she was like, absolutely. So I will be having that call here in a couple of hours. It's crazy how quickly I can spiral down into feelings of like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and everybody's gonna find out how stupid I am, or everybody's gonna find out that I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna be discovered for the fraud that I am. And I don't know, that conversation that we had with Amánda the other day was just a reinforcement of the fact that we all have these feelings. It's a hurdle to overcome. So, funny story, I just had a quick 10-minute call with my new client who apologized for not providing all the context and also not providing all of the documentation that I would need in order to write all the things. So it was nothing. I freaked out over nothing. And yeah, all I needed to do was ask for help, and then they realized they didn't actually send me all the info. So it ended up being no big deal, but I blew it way out of proportion. So there you go.
What we were just saying, like,
We're just putting in your 10,000 hours. Like I was frustrated when I made that mistake with my podcast.
yeah.
Like, I'm good at so many things.
but you got frustrated.
And
with
I got
yourself.
frustrated because I was a newbie podcaster, and I didn't just. And
You were mad that you were a newbie on your first day.
Yeah.
Which we have some strange culture that says that, okay, I'm an expert at other stuff, so therefore I might as well, every time I sit down to do something new, I should be an expert at that too.
Right.
Especially if I'm over 40.
Right.
And so there's a really interesting thing about our professional culture that says when you're over 40,
Right.
you don't get to be new. You don't get to be a newbie. You should be, and that's crap,
Yeah.
right? Because it's super crap. Because number one, as a 40-year-old, what you bring to the table is a maturity that somebody who's not, doesn't have 20 years under their belt,
Right.
they can't bring that to the
I
table.
have a certain seniority. We have seniority in certain areas, even if we're new at the particular task we're doing.
We have 10,000 plus hours
Yes.
at stuff.
At-
I
at
don't
being
know
human.
if that equals seniority, but like it's just like I get what it's like to learn something new and not be great at it at first, and
Yeah.
ask for help. But at the same time, we have a self-imposed crutch that says, well, I'm an expert at A and B, so therefore, shit, I'm sucking at C, so I'm a failure. No, you just don't know C yet.
Yeah.
And it takes a little time. But the cool thing about, having an expertise in other areas is you know how to get there a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And all of the crap, your mental gymnastics that you go through
Yeah.
to get there. So I knew when I was sitting there, back to the beginning, it was like when I was ew. Was that a dog? When I was coding, I was like, I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, so I'm having this existential breakdown. It will pass and it's not real.
Right.
And all I really need to do is tell my boss, who's 20 years younger than me, I'm this far, and I just need your 15%,
Yeah.
right, to get to 100%. And he's like, of course, that's why he's
Yeah.
my boss, and
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that you've learned. The one skill set you do have when you're older over other people is you've learned how to learn,
yeah,
right? And you also are, I wouldn't say perfectly, but you're somewhat acclimated to, oh, I'm feeling imposter syndrome now. Okay, this isn't real. Everybody feels this. I felt this several times before in my life career.
Yep.
It turns out to be nothing, right?
Right.
Or, if it turns out to be something, okay, so have I been in situations where somebody has, a couple of years in, turned in and say,
Sid.
you don't
Sid.
belong here.
Quit it.
Right?
Come.
right.
Yeah, I have.
Some
and
people say that.
Some people say that, but it's kind of like the smartest people I know never say that. The smartest people I know go, hey, none of us belong anywhere. There's so much shit to figure out. Like,
No, let's solve this together. Like,
let's solve the problem. Let's solve
okay,
it together.
You brought it this far. I
Yeah.
can help you bring it this far, and that's what a team is.
Exactly.
That's what a team is. That's why we work at corporations. I mean, that's
Some
how.
of us,
That's
yeah.
That's why I like a team.
Yeah, I mean, a team.
I don't like being the one with all the answers. For 6 years, I ran a company and I was the one with all the answers.
And you were
I
good at it.
and well,
Yeah, but the thing
but I
is,
like being on a team where I don't have to know everything. I can know a
Nobody-
part of it.
Nobody knows all. Nobody. You never had all the answers.
No,
Nobody ever has.
but
all
I
the
had.
Answers.
I was responsible for all the answers.
Yeah, I mean, I've.
Can we pause for a second so
Yeah.
I can ask a question? Jen
Yeah.
Zug, where's your class right now?
Right here.
Yeah, but that's what I did. Well, so long as Sid doesn't like come and
I'll hold it. Fine, I'll hold it.
or put it between your
It's in my hand.
thigh and the chair, because this is like shoosh.
All right, I'm gonna keep my hand on it.
I think, like knowing you, Jen, and knowing who would be your viewers, and what might be helpful for them, is to just know that like nobody ever has all the
Sid.
answers, and this concept of like sitting at our desk when we have this panic attack, you're not alone,
Yeah.
and the best thing you can do is ask for help.
Yes.
And if your team or manager is a jerk about it,
yes.
you're on the wrong team.
You're on the wrong team. It's
Because
not your issue.
That's a shitty team.
It
That's
is a
not a
shitty
team. That's
team.
like anti-team.
Yeah.
So
it is not a Wonder Twin Powers activate team.
it's not. It won't ever work. So like, if you sit there and you have these anxiety human attacks, the attack of being a human being, because being human is hard, and your team is not cool about it.
Chill, buddy.
Then time to get on a new team, and unless you are deciding that your next job is to fix the team and not do your original job, but to fix the team, because you cannot do both.
Right.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
I have been on really shitty teams where people have told me I was like horrible and fired me because, Sid, buddy.
Come on, Sid. There's probably a cat. There's
Oh, honey, I know. I really do know.
he can see a cat. There's probably
He
a cat.
hardly ever barks.
Nope, he doesn't bark. Just a
Oh,
cat.
you still
Mom.
recording?
Mom! Mom! Mommy! Mommy!
Oh.
Mommy! Mama! Mama!
That's my ringtone for
Mama.
Ruthie.
Ma!
Funny story. So the gal we were interviewing when that happened, her name is Sarah McNally, and she has a shop here in Seattle at the Fisherman's Terminal, and it's a card shop, Constellation & Co. You should totally check it out. And when we were done with the fiasco and I was hanging my head in shame and packing up our stuff to go, I noticed one of the cards that she makes on her letterpress that she sells in her shop says, it could probably be worse. I've had a very strong connection to the feeling of that card because it was bad. It was a dumb mistake, but it could have been worse. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure this out. All right, I'm off to watch Game of Thrones and eat my steak. I'm not a perfectionist, right? He snorted.